Have you ever looked at someone successful and thought, they are not smarter than me, so why are they winning while I am still stuck in the same place? It is a strange feeling because deep down, you know you have talent, you have ideas, you have talent, potential, and yet your life does not move forward the way you hoped. Most people think success comes from intelligence, luck, or big opportunities, but the truth is often much simpler and also more uncomfortable. The real difference is habits. Two people can have the same talent, the same dreams, and even the same chances in life, but the one who wins is usually the one who shows up every day, even when they do not feel motivated. Success is rarely one big moment. It is built quietly through small, consistent actions that seem too ordinary to matter at first. Waking up a little earlier, reading a few pages, practicing a skill for just 20 minutes, cleaning up your space, finishing what you start. These small actions are like seeds. You will not see results right away, but if you repeat them daily, they begin to grow, and one day they become the foundation of a life that looks completely different. That is why some people rise while others stay stuck, not because they are more gifted, but because they are more consistent. And in today's story, you will see how one simple habit can change everything. Let me tell you about a boy named Arav. Arav was bright, creative, and full of big dreams. He imagined himself becoming someone important, respected, and successful. He could clearly see his future in his mind, standing confidently in front of others, achieving goals, making his family proud. There was only one problem. He was always waiting for tomorrow. Every morning he promised he would start fresh. He would study harder, exercise more, focus better. But when the alarm rang, he whispered just a few more minutes and pulled the blanket over his head. Arav loved the idea of success, but he did not love the daily effort required to build it. One day he would feel inspired and study for hours. The next day he would forget everything and spend his time playing or scrolling without purpose. He had passion but no consistency. He had dreams but no structure. And this is where many people quietly lose, not because they are not capable, not because they are not intelligent, but because they do not turn intention into routine. Arav believed that one day, motivation would change his life. He kept waiting for a powerful moment that would transform him overnight. But days turned into weeks, and weeks slowly turned into months. Nothing changed. If you have ever felt like Arav, full of potential but stuck in delay, comment number 1 below, so I know you are ready to move from dreaming to doing. One afternoon, as Arav wandered through his town, feeling frustrated with himself, he noticed someone who lived very differently. At the edge of the neighborhood, there was an elderly man named Gopal Kaka, a retired army officer known for his calm presence and steady discipline. Every morning before sunrise, Gopal Kaka was already awake. He swept his yard, watered his plants, exercised, and read a few pages of a book. His life did not look dramatic. It looked simple and repetitive, but it also looked stable. Curious, Arav finally asked him, "Kaka, why do you follow the same routine every single day? Do you never get bored?" Gopal Kaka smiled and answered with patience, "Habits are like seeds. What you plant today will grow tomorrow. You may not notice the change right away, but one day your habits will either support you or weaken you. Success does not arrive in one powerful moment. It is built through small actions repeated consistently." Those words stayed with Arav. For the first time, he began to question his own pattern. He had been waiting for motivation to rescue him. He had been chasing excitement instead of building structure. Maybe the problem was not a lack of talent. Maybe the problem was a lack of daily discipline. That evening, Arav did not feel suddenly transformed. He did not feel magical motivation, but he felt something more important. He felt awareness, and sometimes awareness is the first real step toward change. The next morning, Arav did something different. He did not wait to feel inspired. He did not make a dramatic promise. He simply set his alarm a little earlier. When it rang, his body resisted. His mind suggested one more day of rest. But this time, he remembered the seeds Gopal Kaka had spoken about, so he stood up. He washed his face, stepped outside, and began to run. The first few minutes were uncomfortable. His breathing felt heavy. His legs burned. He could not go far, but he finished what he started. The next day, he ran again, and the day after that, he repeated it. It was not impressive. It was not fast. It was not perfect, but it was consistent. After 1 week, Arav added another small habit. He studied for 1 hour every evening. No announcements, no big declarations. He chose a quiet corner, opened his books, and focused. Some days were easy, some days were difficult. Sometimes his friends invited him to play, sometimes he felt tired. But instead of asking, "Do I feel motivated?" he asked a better question. "Can I show up today?" Slowly, something began to change. Running no longer felt impossible. Studying no longer felt forced. Discipline stopped feeling like punishment and started feeling like strength. Arav was not transformed overnight. He was transformed through repetition. Small actions, done daily, were shaping a new version of him. And for the first time in his life, he understood that progress is not loud. It is built quietly, one day at a time. Weeks passed, and Arav kept going. He still had hard days. He still felt tired sometimes. But the difference was this: he no longer stopped. Then, one morning, a notice arrived in town. A competitive scholarship program was opening for students who could perform well both physically and academically. Many students panicked. They talked about studying all night and training at the last minute. They believed success required a sudden burst of effort. But Arav stayed calm, because his preparation was not based on pressure. It was based on routine. On the day of the fitness test, dozens of students gathered early. The whistle blew, and everyone started running. Some sprinted too fast and burned out quickly. Others slowed down and gave up halfway. Arav did not rush. He ran with steady pace, the same way he had practiced for months. He listened to his breathing, kept his rhythm, and moved forward step by step. And when the test ended, he finished stronger than most. Next came the written exam. While others tried to cram and memorize everything, in fear, Arav sat quietly and focused. 1 hour a day for months had built something powerful, a foundation. When the results were announced weeks later, Arav had scored among the top students. He stood there holding the paper with disbelief in his eyes. He did not win because he was the smartest. He won because he was the most consistent. If you want to build that kind of discipline in your own life, comment number 1 right now and promise yourself you will. Start small, but stay consistent. Arav stood there holding his result, but the real victory was not the scholarship. The real victory was who he had become. He was no longer the boy who waited for tomorrow. He was no longer depending on motivation to rescue him. He had built something stronger than excitement. He had built habits. Looking back, he realized something simple but powerful. Success did not arrive in one dramatic moment. It grew quietly in the early mornings, in the 1 hour of study, in the days he showed up, even when he did not feel like it. That is the lesson. Big results are rarely the product of sudden inspiration. They are the result of small actions, repeated with patience and honesty. You do not need to change your entire life tonight. You do not need a perfect plan or endless energy. Start small. Wake up a little earlier. Read a few pages. Move your body for 10 minutes. Finish one task you have been avoiding. Then repeat it tomorrow and the next day. Your future is shaped by what you do consistently, not occasionally. Motivation may start the journey, but discipline carries you to the destination. If this story reminded you that change is possible for you too, take a moment and decide on one small habit you will begin today. Your transformation will not be loud, but it will be real.